alone tonight. Truth unfolds to me.
Hey loves, my name is Brianna. I'm a mom of two, about to be 3 any day now. And today we're gonna talk turkey. We're gonna talk about how to prep for Thanksgiving. Even though this meal, we eat it on Thanksgiving in my family. As a child, we also made it for Christmas. So this could be something if you wanna cook like a turkey dinner with all the fixins for anything this holiday season, because why not? Let's celebrate. 2020 has been hard enough as it is. I wanted to be able to help you because I have been hosting Thanksgiving now in our home for over 30 people for, gosh, I think the last 3 years. And because of the baby this year, it's the first year I'm taking a break. So I hope that I'm able to help you if maybe this is the first time you're gonna be preparing a Thanksgiving meal. A lot of you told me on my Christmas Clean and Decorate With Me video, you really wanted a Thanksgiving recipe, homemaking tips, how to have Thanksgiving dinner video. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. The key thing you need to remember is backwards planning is essential for you to have a successful Thanksgiving dinner. And I totally went back into teacher mode here. I used to teach 7th grade English, made a little PowerPoint for you that I'm gonna show, as well as I'll show you like my calendar that I used last year that I made it then for this year. So for Thanksgiving here in the US at least, so you can see how everything is backwards planned and scheduled out on the calendar. So our Thanksgiving menu is I start with rolls and butter. I have the turkey that is then stuffed, and then also the gravy, mashed potatoes, a sweet potato casserole. I make homemade cranberry sauce. Then I do spinach and bacon as like sort of vegetable side. The bacon kind of takes away from that. I also make Thanksgiving sangria and a pumpkin pie cheesecake. And all of these recipes besides the rolls and the spinach and bacon, because the rolls I usually just get crescent roll dough and make those. And the spinach and bacon is just very simple. I literally just use like a package of spinach and cook like a pound of bacon that's chopped up and add it together. So it's like very, very simple. But all of the other recipes I do have in my cookbook. But this is my cookbook. It's available on Amazon everywhere because you can get it in an ebook form. So if you're like, I need these recipes right now, you can download the ebook version, or you can order this copy to get delivered to you. But I have an entire section that is all my like Thanksgiving recipes and just sort of like my family stories behind everything. So all of the recipes are in there. If you get it, let me know. But I also am going to share with you how I make a bunch of the food in today's video too, because when I was making the cookbook, I filmed when I was making all the Thanksgiving food. So I have that at the end of this video, but I just wanted to talk more in the beginning of this about how I backwards plan to make this pretty extensive meal possible, especially for a very large amount of people. All right, so backwards planning. It might be a little shocking how far in advance that you actually need to get the ball rolling on this, but you actually need to start 4 to 5 days before Thanksgiving so that your turkey is properly defrosted. So I would recommend having your turkey ordered those 5 days before Thanksgiving, and firstly cleaning out your fridge so that you have enough space to fit the turkey. And you also need space anyways to like fit all of the other groceries once you get those. But have the fridge cleaned out, have the turkey in there defrosting, especially if you're getting a larger bird. Like a 20-pound turkey should be in the fridge for 4 to 5 days before you actually cook it. And if you're gonna brine your turkey, that's why I end up getting my turkey on like the Sunday before Thanksgiving, so it can sit in the fridge, because then Wednesday I'm brining my turkey. Then 2 days before Thanksgiving, so I would recommend on Tuesday, have your groceries delivered or go to the grocery store, whatever you're doing at this point in time to shop for your groceries. Then the day before, I kind of broke this down into morning and afternoon tasks. So in the morning, you wanna brine your turkey first thing, so that way your turkey is in the brine for about 24 hours, so it is the most flavorful and tender turkey of your life. Everyone who's told me that they've used the recipe that's in the cookbook to brine their turkey has been like, this was the best our turkey has ever turned out. So give it a try. I really, really think it just enhances your turkey so much. You've got to try the brine recipe. And then that morning I will tear the stuffing bread so that it gets to sit out for 24 hours before I stuff the turkey the next morning. And this is also the time then that I prep the pumpkin pie cheesecake, because that tastes best if it's refrigerated for like overnight. So I like to make it in the morning so that it's completely done for dessert the next afternoon. Then once I have that food stuff prepped in the morning, I get to cleaning the house. You guys probably know if you've watched other videos on my channel. If you haven't and you're looking for cleaning motivation, check out my cleaning videos on here. But this is where I pay particular attention to the spots in the house that the guests are going to be, the bathrooms, making sure that soap's fully stocked, toilet paper's fully stocked, that there's fresh towels in the bathroom, any places where the guests congregate. Basically, I just try to think about wherever guests might be sitting, hanging out, where kids are playing, make sure all of that is tidy and cleaned before they come. And depending on the weather where you live and just what you're kind of doing this Thanksgiving, if there are going to be guests coming to your home, make sure that you have your coat closet cleared out so that you have enough space for coats, or if you have hooks, like everything off the hooks so that they can hang their coats there, that you have a designated place for people to take off their shoes. And this year, if we were having guests, I would definitely have hand sanitizer by the door, masks ready by the door, just those like little extras this year to keep everything sort of safe and social distanced. And then that might also be something that you consider of when you're cleaning, if you're gonna be like setting up chairs or any of the spaces a little bit differently for social distancing. Such a crazy year. Thank you, 2020. But then also when it comes to setting your table, whether you're going to do a really decorative tablescape or if you're gonna kind of have separate tables because of social distancing too for different families, however you need to do it this year, I just like to have all of that done the day before. Then that afternoon or evening is when I block off a couple of hours to do a bunch of the food prep of the side dishes that I can just do the day in advance so that I don't have to sweat about it on Thanksgiving, because there's already a lot. I feel like going on that day and I can enjoy the Thanksgiving parade with my family a little bit too in the morning. So I prep the cranberry sauce the day before, and you can prep the sweet potato casserole the day before, the mashed potatoes the day before. You can make your rolls the day before, and I also make my spinach and bacon side dish the day before too. I would just recommend when you make all of these things, have them in either your like baking dish, your casserole dish, or if you don't have a ton of those things on hand, you can get the aluminum baking dishes. So that way you have everything kind of prepped, ready. You can put them all in the fridge, and then the next day you pop them in the oven to heat them so that they're ready for when you're actually serving dinner. Second tip to think about is if you don't have a lot of serving utensils, you might also want to get some plastic serving utensils for all of these dishes that you're going to be making too. All right, morning of, it's usually a pretty early morning if you're making a big bird. So if you're like making a 20-pound turkey and you're gonna have dinner at 3, which I feel like is the normal time we usually have it with our family, I will be up at like 5 o'clock in the morning because I'm preheating the oven at 5:30, taking the turkey out of the brine, stuffing the bird, and making sure then that it is in the oven by 7 a.m. If it's in there a little earlier, that's fine. Earlier is better. Like being a little ahead is always good for this kind of a meal. But I wanna make sure that the turkey is in there for long enough, because it takes 20 minutes per pound at 350 degrees for your turkey to cook, but it actually takes a little bit longer. So usually I do like 22 minutes a pound if you're putting stuffing in the bird. So it takes like 7 hours and 20 minutes is what it would take for 7 hours and 20 minutes is what it would take to cook a stuffed 20-pound turkey. So that's kind of what I budget for. And again, backwards planning here is really essential because you want the turkey to be out of the oven. I plan for like an hour before I actually say my dinner time is, because it needs to sit for like 15 to 30 minutes before you actually cut it, and it takes about 30 minutes to cut it. So that's why I always budget that it's out of the oven an hour before I say dinner time is, and then I have that hour to reheat all of the sides and things that I made the day before. The morning of is also when I make my sangria. It can be refrigerated all day and it still tastes amazing. The recipe, by the way, is in the cookbook too. But done that way, if you need a little bit of sangria to get you through the day, it's done. And the reason I kind of like this setup of everything sort of being prepped the day before is then I have time to watch the Thanksgiving Day parade with the kids, get the kids ready, get myself ready before guests come. And then that way about an hour before the guests arrive, which we usually will have guests arriving about an hour, hour and a half before like I'm going to serve the dinner so that they can visit. And if people are like running a little late or anything like that, they're there by the time that dinner's ready. So an hour before guests arrive, I will light candles. I'll just do a double check of the bathrooms and the spaces and make sure like everything is tidy and ready to go. Then an hour before dinner time is when, again, I take the turkey out of the oven, let it sit. Adam will cut it about 30 minutes before we eat, or his dad has helped him, I think other years too. But this is where then I will put in both of the potato dishes at 350 so that they are like fully reheated. And I keep them covered so that like the top doesn't get brown, except for then the sweet potato casserole, which you add the marshmallows to the top and let those get nice and brown. You keep an eye on them, but it's anywhere from like 5 to 15 minutes, or you can like do it a lot faster if you put your broiler on. But I just like the potatoes to be like nice and heated through. And this is also the point then that I will make the gravy on the stove with the drippings from the turkey. Now 30 minutes before dinner time is when I add the rolls and the veggie side, the spinach and bacon, to the oven just on keep warm. Keep the potatoes in there, except I usually remove the sweet potato casserole because I don't want the marshmallows to get like melted on it. But I'll keep the mashed potatoes in there, and that way everything is just staying nice and hot until I actually serve it. And then that like last 15 minutes before dinner, I feel like that's always like the crazy time, but that's when I set out the cranberry sauce, I set out any like the condiments, butter, and then I just start getting the food out of the oven. And if I'm transferring anything to more of a serving dish, that's when I do that. Or if you're kind of gonna let everybody go buffet style, it's just like setting everything out and again, making sure everything has a serving utensil for when they go to get everything out. And this is my calendar for this year. I kind of applied everything that I did last year and put it into this calendar. You can see like it does start days before Thanksgiving, so just make sure you're prepared and have a defrosted turkey. And then really that day before, I would say, is like the heaviest load. The day of just is a little more stressful when guests, start arriving and you just want everything to be going smoothly. But the bulk of the work you can put in the day before Thanksgiving, and just be prepared for an early morning on Thanksgiving to get that bird in the oven early so that it is cooked and ready long before your guests are actually ready to sit down and eat dinner. But you can definitely like play around with any of the preps on these things too. I mean, you could definitely even make the potatoes and stuff like that 2 days in advance if you wanted to spread this out a little bit more. But this is just kind of how I laid out the calendar that works best for me. I always just want to be transparent. I learn something new. I feel like every single year, every time I host something, I think of something else that's helpful. So if you're watching this and there's something that you do, or a tip you have, or something you've seen your mom or your grandma do that was like really wonderful and helpful, please share it so that we're always learning from each other in the comments. That's what I absolutely love about this community. But all right, now it is time for the actual Thanksgiving recipes. Again, they're all in my cookbook, but I hope you enjoy seeing the walkthrough in this video, so that as you make them with me, you can like even put on this video and follow along with me and the recipe in the cookbook. I am so excited today to share with you all of my recipes that I love making for my family every single Thanksgiving holiday. I did make them a little early this year because of little babe's due date. So when you see this, the baby may or may not be here. Check over on Instagram. But all of these recipes and more are also in my new cookbook, which if you're interested in getting a hard copy of it, I'll have that link down in the description box below. But I hope you're excited to cook Thanksgiving dinner with me today. The first recipe I'm walking you through today is my turkey brine recipe. For this brine, you get a large stock pot, add 3 cups apple cider, 2 cups brown sugar, 1 cup of sea salt, 3 tablespoons peppercorns, bay leaves, 2 heaping tablespoons of minced garlic, 4 sprigs of rosemary, the rinds of 3 oranges, and 2 gallons of water. And then you bring all of this to a boil. Then you need to let this cool completely. Okay, so I'm letting the turkey brine cool, but I did just want to show you guys some of the gear I got this year. So I got this, it's like a 5-gallon bucket. You can get them right on Amazon. And then these are brining bags. I think it came in a 5 or 10 pack, I can't remember. But you can put this right inside the bucket then, so that then you can put the turkey and the brine right in there and just cover it with foil and either put it in the fridge, or if you're making this at Thanksgiving time and you got cold weather, my mom would always like put it in the snow or out in the cold garage too. Make sure your turkey is cleaned. I don't know how this happened, but when I filmed this, the turkey that the grocery store delivered had no legs. So make sure, no matter if your turkey has legs or not, you rinse the turkey in cold water, remove all the giblets and the bag of innards from inside of the turkey before you put it in the brine. I know the first time I made a turkey, I did not realize that there was like multiple bags of stuff on the inside, so make sure you check the inside of the turkey really, really well and remove everything. Then put the turkey into the bucket and cover completely in that cooled brine. And you want to refrigerate this or keep it cool for 16 to 24 hours. The longer, the better the flavor. It will seriously turn out amazing. Also the night before, I tear up 2 loaves of bread to stale overnight for the stuffing, and then the next morning, I finish making the stuffing. I chop 5 to 6 celery stalks, 1 yellow onion, and cook this in a stick of butter until it's all softened. Then add this to the bowl of bread. And then add 2 eggs, salt and pepper, Old Bay seasoning, garlic powder, and mix it all together. And then slowly add in some water to make your stuffing a little sticky. You don't want it to be soaked, just sticky. And if you want to make your stuffing extra flavorful, I'll boil the giblets that are in those bags that are inside the turkey in water, and then I use that water to pour over the stuffing. That's the way my mom and grandma always make it. Now, take that turkey out of the brine and rinse it. And then put it on your baking pan, and you want to stuff that turkey as full of that stuffing as you can get it. And then any extra stuffing, you can add that to a greased baking dish, keep it refrigerated, and then you can bake it the last 30 to 45 minutes that your turkey's in the oven. And then you can add the giblets to the bottom of the baking pan with half a cup of water. And then I slice up a stick of butter into small pats and just add this all over the top of the turkey. It will like stick to the turkey skin. And then you want to season all over that turkey with salt and pepper, and then cover it with foil, and you want to keep the foil on until the last 30 minutes of baking. And you're gonna bake your turkey at 350 degrees. You wanna baste it every 30 minutes, getting that water and drippings from the bottom of the pan all over the turkey. And you wanna bake it for 22 minutes for every pound of the turkey. And then for your gravy, once the turkey is all done baking, take that water out of the bottom of the baking pan, remove the giblets if you put them in there, and then in a pot, whisk in 2 cups of turkey broth, a tablespoon of cornstarch, and half a cup of flour. And make sure this gets really smooth as you bring it to a simmer, and then just keep your gravy warm until you're ready to serve. For the pumpkin pie cheesecake, I make this the day before so that it has plenty of time to chill in the fridge. But you make the crust using 1.5 cups of graham cracker crumbs, 1/3 cup of sugar, 6 tablespoons melted butter, and half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And you push this evenly into the pie pan. Next, mix 2 8-ounce packages of cream cheese. It's best if you do this when they've sat out at room temperature. And then add half a cup of sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla, and 2 large eggs. Then put half of this mixture into the pie. In your mixing bowl, add in half a cup of pumpkin puree and 2 teaspoons of pumpkin spice, and mix all of that together so that it turns into like a pumpkin pie cream cheese mixture. And then gently put that pumpkin batter on top of the plain cheesecake layer. Be careful not to mix this because it looks really pretty when it is layered. And then you want to bake this at 325 degrees for 35 minutes. Let it cool for 1 hour and then refrigerate overnight, and then add whipped cream on top when you're ready to serve. Now for the sweet potato casserole, this is such a simple side. Just pour 2 cans of yams, 3/4 cup of brown sugar, 1/2 cup of butter, 1½ teaspoon salt, 1/2 teaspoon vanilla, and if you don't have any nut allergies in your family, I skipped this step because of Landon, but you can add 1/2 cup of chopped pecans into the mixing bowl and mash all of this together. And then you want to spread this into a 13 by 9 greased baking dish. Bake this for 15 minutes and then take it out of the oven and top with a package of mini marshmallows. And nothing wrong with using the whole bag of marshmallows either. Then you can bake for 10 minutes or until those marshmallows are nice and golden brown on top. For the green bean casserole, in a large mixing bowl, add in a 10-ounce can of cream of mushroom soup with 1/2 cup of milk, 1 cup mozzarella cheese, 1 teaspoon soy sauce, black pepper, 2 14-ounce cans of French-style green beans, and 2/3 cup of French fried onions, and stir all this together. Then add it to a greased 1½ quart casserole dish, and you want to bake this at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. The bean mixture should be nice and bubbling, and then you want to top it with the rest of the French fried onions for another 10 minutes of baking or until those onions are golden brown on the top. Thank you so much for watching this Thanksgiving Cook With Me. I hope that it gave you a ton of ideas. Don't forget, all of these recipes and more are in my new cookbook. I'll have it linked down below. And I just want to thank you so much for being here. I'm so thankful for each and every single one of you. And I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed Thanksgiving with your friends and your family, whether it's in person or virtual this year. Bye, loves. Happy Thanksgiving. And I have even more Thanksgiving recipes for you, like the mashed potatoes and Thanksgiving sangria and cranberry sauce, all in my cookbook. So make sure you check it out over on Amazon. I hope that it helps you make wonderful Thanksgiving dinners for many years to come. It also has all my family's Christmas cookie recipes and brunch recipes for Christmas, so a lot of great holiday recipes for you over the next few weeks. But I'm sending you all of my love and wishing you a very happy Thanksgiving.